Hi guys, it's Jerry here. Thank you so much for lending me your ears. As you are also watching, you are also giving us your eyeballs. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the Chartered Vendor. I'm getting wonderful feedback. Sometimes I feel like giving up. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking too much. Remember, I used to be an introvert. I feel like, this thing which I'm doing is not me. But the feedback which you get when you get into the streets, thank you, Bulawayo. I met a lot of people who follow me on Facebook, who follow me on YouTube. Thank you for supporting this cause. We want to change our country. We believe that Africa can also play a part, can actually beat the developed countries, but it's you and me who are going to contribute in our country. So today we're going to talk about something, an interesting story. I've finished writing my book, Selling Like a Vendor. That book is massive, especially for someone who wants to start into sales, someone who wants to get into sales, someone who wants to run a company, because you cannot run a company without sales. So that book is very, very interesting, because I was trying to come up with a different perspective, whereby I've actually said, we are in Africa, and the way we do things is kind of different from the way the Europeans do their thing, or the Americans they've done their thing. I've read several books. There's several ideas coming from different authors and different sales coaches and sales trainers. So it took me time, my experience which I acquired from when I was a vendor for about 17 years, and also the experience which I've acquired when I was also working in different companies, and also working in my company trying to sell, because every day you're selling, every day you're being rejected. Thank you also for supporting my old book, The Chartered Vendor. Is still selling. I'm still getting sales for that book. It's still being demanded. I think right now it's time has come for us to put it also in the bookshops. I think you are going to get it in some of the bookshops in Zimbabwe, and they're also trying to put it in other bookshops in South Africa and in Zambia. We thank you so much for doing that. So yes, what's in the Selling Like a Vendor? Selling Like a Vendor is a book which I'm trying to say, what's the ideal process? What's the ideal sales process which a salesperson can follow? Which steps do they follow if they really want to nail it in sales, if they really want to play a part in sales, to get more sales in their company? I strongly believe that we start with the basics, and that's the first chapter, or the first section of the book is talking about the basics and the laws of sales. Like what do you really need for you to be in sales? Which laws are you supposed to be following in sales? What do you really need as a salesperson? Which are the do's and the don'ts in sales? So this is what I'm addressing, and I believe that that information is very critical, because when I started selling without knowing the fundamentals, without knowing the basics, and sometimes I would end up clashing with customers. Sometimes I'll end up losing deals, because why? I was kind of an amateur and I didn't have the information. So I'm trying to give this information to other people to say, how can you know how to sell? For example, who is supposed to be in sales? What's the significance of sales in our economy? What's the significance of sales in a family? What's the significance of sales in a church? What's the significance of sales even in a football club? All this information is what I'm talking about, and I think you're going to like that information. I bet my last dollar that you're going to like that information. Then on the second section, I'm actually talking about the ideal sales process. What's the ideal sales process? Which steps do you follow when you want to be in sales? So I believe that yes, you start with your attitude. Your attitude has to be cleaned. Your attitude guide you. You have to protect your attitude like you're protecting. That's everything in sales. Then when you finish on the attitude, you're now going out. You're starting to prospect for that business. When you start to prospect for that business, you're trying to, yes, you can have a good product, you can have a good service, but so long if you don't have the market, forget about it. Your business is never going to be successful. Your business is going to fail. So we get into prospecting. That's the ideal sales process is where I'm talking about. And after prospecting, I'm saying now, when you're done prospecting now, what comes up with the prospecting? There's fact finding. You're now in fact-finding stage. You need to ask questions in order for you to diagnose, like just what the doctors do, like what good engineers or good lawyers do. They ask questions in order for them to build a case. That's what good accountants do. If they want to do a profit and loss or a trial balance for a company, they don't just jump into that. They first ask critical questions which are going to help them to come up with good accounts. Then, after the fact finding, I'm now saying, yes, you now know the problems which the client is experiencing. You know everything about that customer. You're now coming up with a presentation. On the presentation, I'm focusing more on how you're going to select the right solution for your customer. Let us take it to the doctor. They diagnose a problem. They're now getting a right pill for that patient. And before they give that right pill, sometimes they really need to demonstrate how the side effects and how the pill is going to solve their problems. So demonstration is very key. Selection of that product is going to be also critical. Then after that, we're now getting into the close and the negotiation. Yes, we've done the presentation, we've done the selection. We're now coming up with the quotation. Probably we're going to come up with also terms of agreement, a contract. Then boom, you're now closing, you're now negotiating. We're talking on how you're supposed to close. Different types of clauses. Do you know about the clauses? Do you know the Ben Franklin clause? Do you know the spouse's clause? Do you know I will think about it clause? These are type of clauses. I've got a lot of them. I think in future I'm going to come up with a book just talking about the clauses. But right now I just cherry-picked clauses which I feel you need to know them. When someone is saying the price is too high, how are you going to answer? When someone is saying I'm going to ask my wife, how are you going to answer? All that information is there in the book. You can actually memorize it. Negotiation. How do you negotiate a deal? Yes, don't negotiate a deal whilst you are actually at a disadvantaged side, whereby you feel like don't be too desperate when you're negotiating a deal. End of the day, you get that deal at a lower price. All that information is there in the book. You need to close. Yes, I'm also saying after closing, after negotiating, you follow up on your client whether the product or the service is working for them, is working, and if they're actually benefiting, or if their pains have been solved. So that's the ideal sales process which I was talking about. So as you noticed, these topics which I talked about in the ideal sales process, I went on to start to have a full topic on prospecting only, and I've got a full topic on follow-up only, and I've got a full topic on closing and negotiation only. So all this information is there in the book, and the book probably is going to be 200 to 300 pages thereabouts. It depends with what is going to be added and what is going to be edited out or edited in. So thank you so much, guys. This is a new gift from me in 2020-23, whereby we're saying selling it like a vendor. Vendors, they are not shy. Vendors are people who really want, when they go out there, they go and get whatever they need. They get into the market, they are not shy, they are going after that cent, they are going after that dollar, they are going after that kwacha, they are going after that shilling. So we are just saying selling like a vendor. How vendors behave when they're on the street. How do they sell? This is what we are talking about in that book. I hope you're going to like my new project, and I'm also starting to pen another new project which is going to come out before the year ends, called Sales is Costume Jolo. We are focusing on sales right now. So thank you so much, guys, for supporting the Chartered Vendor podcast. Thank you so much for subscribing on my YouTube. Thank you so much for subscribing on my content on TikTok. Thank you for supporting this cause. I know business content, there are very few people who can resonate with it. There are very few people who look for this kind of information. So thank you so much. I get tired also. I get a bit demotivated. Sometimes I don't feel like doing it, but thanks, guys, for pushing me. Thanks for the producer of this show for pushing me. Thanks for the videographers. Thanks everyone who actually contributes to this show. I believe that is bringing benefits to the business world. Until next time, guys, remember to subscribe on my YouTube channel. Remember also to hit a like button. Comment on the comment section. We can talk about this. Let's talk about business, giving each other ideas. Probably you know much than I do. Let's give us other ideas, Thank you so much. Until next time, Jerry out.